afternoons, Chevy Buick GMC, it's Tyson's Corner.
Tonight, the miracle in the cave. The moment a boys' soccer team is found alive 10 days after vanishing inside a maze of dark tunnels.
We just got the news that the boys have been found.
Families rejoicing, but now the new race against time to rescue those children. Cohen's warning shot, the president's former personal attorney and fixer breaking his silence in an ABC News exclusive, telling George Stephanopoulos his first loyalty is now to his family, after once saying he would take a bullet for the president. The deadly vacation horror, a tour boat exploding off the Bahamas, a young American dancer losing her legs in the blast, and new details tonight about the woman who did not survive. Extreme heat wave, the summer scorcher now turning deadly. The daring prison break, a notorious gangster busts out with the help of armed commandos and a stolen helicopter. Tonight, the nationwide manhunt. And meet the new king of LA. LeBron James says goodbye, Cleveland. Hello, Hollywood.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
And good evening. It's great to have you with us on a busy Monday night. I'm Tom Yamas, in for David. And we begin tonight with breaking news, the miracle rescue, the 10-day ordeal playing out in front of the world. 12 young boys and their soccer coach found alive in a flooded cave in Thailand. Remarkable images coming in.
We are coming. It's okay. It's okay. Many people are coming.
That right there is the moment rescuers finally reach the group huddled in the dark cave, sitting at the water's edge. Divers navigating narrow passages and muddy water, promising more help is on the way. Emotional family members camped out at the scene, excited beyond belief after learning everyone is alive. Rescuers now faced with the difficult task of getting the boys safely out and back to their families. ABC's James Longman is in Thailand at the cave site to lead us off.
The pictures the world was holding its breath for.
How many of you? 13. Brilliant.
And the voices they'd waited to hear. 12 schoolboys aged 11 to 16 and their soccer coach found alive tonight on their 10th day in a flooded Thai cave.
We are coming. It's okay. It's okay. Many people are coming. Many people. We are the first. Many people come.
Rescue flashlights breaking their long darkness. The boys with no idea how long they'd been underground.
What day is it? Monday. Okay, but 1 week and Monday. You have been here 10 days. 10 days. You are very strong. Very strong.
Strong in spirit, but physically they're weak. Some are able to stand, though. Thank you, the boys repeat. Outside, the word spread quickly.
We just got the news that the boys have been found. It's incredible news. Thailand's prayers have paid off.
Their parents had sat waiting at the cave entrance for days. Tonight, they're overjoyed. The US playing a part in what locals are already calling a miracle. A strong international team on the ground here. The boys and their coach went into the cave last Saturday. A fun excursion gone badly wrong. Sudden heavy rain causing flash floods. Rescue divers battling powerful currents. Narrow rock and muddy waters. Now that the search is over, the complicated rescue mission begins.
We're going to come together to figure out what the best possible solution is and kind of be able to get the kids out as safely and as quickly as possible.
The next steps will not be easy. They're 2 miles inside. One plan could be to stretcher them out along the water, but with large parts of the cave still submerged, it's not clear if they'd have to swim out. A second option, experts tell us, keeping them supplied until another entrance to the cave can be drilled. The water levels stable for now, but with rain forecast, it's still a race against time.
We're trying to find a way to get them out because now the water is really low. And
so you've got to do it before the rain comes. Yeah.
Time is of the essence, and James Longman joins us now from outside that cave in northern Thailand. James, we've reported they were there for 10 days. How did those boys manage to survive for so long?
Well, Tom, experts tell us they managed to survive because of the sheer heat in that cave, about 100 degrees inside, which means they didn't have to worry about hypothermia. Also, they were able to drink because of fresh water seeping through cracks in the rock.
Incredible, the heat actually saved them. And James, I understand a doctor was part of that dive team and is now treating them inside the cave?
That's right. The medic is a trained scuba diver, and he is now spending the night with the group inside, tending to their needs, making sure that they can build up their strength, because it's a long trek to get back out of that cave tonight, Tom.
Such an incredible moment there, James. Thank you to you and your team for your reporting. Now to the ABC News exclusive, George Stephanopoulos one-on-one with President Trump's former longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen. The president's so-called fixer, who once said, "I will do anything to protect Mr. Trump," now telling George he will put country and family first. Cohen under intense pressure since the FBI raided his home and his office, perhaps signaling his willingness to cooperate with federal prosecutors. Here's ABC's chief news anchor, George Stephanopoulos.
He's the lawyer and fixer who once vowed he'd take a bullet for his most famous client.
I'll do anything to protect Mr. Trump. I'm obviously very loyal and very dedicated to Mr. Trump.
But when I sat down with Michael Cohen in New York this weekend, it was clear something has changed. Federal prosecutors are breathing down his neck, and when I asked Cohen what he'll do if they offer him leniency in return for information on President Trump, he was emphatic. "My wife, my daughter, and my son have my first loyalty," he said, "and they always will. I put family and country first." 3 times I pressed him, and 3 times his answer was the same: family first.
Mr. President, is Michael Cohen going to flip, sir? Will Michael Cohen flip,
Thank
sir?
you very much. In the Oval Office today, President Trump ignored questions. In the past, he predicted Cohen won't turn against him, tweeting, "Most people will flip if the government lets them out of trouble. Sorry, I don't see Michael doing that." But now Cohen is sending a clear signal to the president, prosecutors, and the country. "I will not be a punching bag as part of anyone's defense strategy," he told me. "I am not a villain of this story, and I will not allow others to try to depict me that way." Cohen is under investigation by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York for possible bank and wire fraud. Prosecutors are digging into his $130,000 hush payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. The president claimed to know nothing about it.
You have to ask Michael. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
And in the past, Cohen insisted he acted on his own initiative. But now, when I asked if the president directed him to pay off the porn star, Cohen hedged, telling me, "I want to answer. One day I will answer. But for now, I can't comment further on advice of my counsel." In April, FBI agents raided Cohen's home and office, seizing documents and more than a dozen phones and electronic devices.
I just heard that they broke into the office of one of my personal attorneys, good man, and it's a disgraceful situation.
But Cohen told me he doesn't agree with those who demonize or vilify the FBI, adding, "The agents were respectful, courteous, and professional. I thanked them for their service, and as they left, we shook hands." Cohen also refused to criticize Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian meddling and possible collusion with the Trump campaign.
It's a witch hunt. That's all it is. It's a total witch hunt.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt.
Cohen told me, "I don't like the term witch hunt." And he has tough words about that infamous Trump Tower meeting when Don Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort sat down with a Russian lawyer they were told had dirt on Hillary Clinton. Cohen calls the meeting a mistake, an example of poor judgment. And when I asked him if Donald Trump knew about the meeting in advance, Cohen would only tell me this: "I can't comment under advice of my counsel."
And George joins us now in studio. George, a very telling interview there. But the big question tonight, why is Michael Cohen speaking out? Is he trying to send a message?
Oh, definitely. That's part of it. Strategic. Sending a message, as I said, to prosecutors, to the president, and to the country. But, Tom, I also think it's deeply personal for Michael Cohen. He's been taking a lot of hits out there from allies of President Trump, in the press, in the public. He wanted to tell his story. He wanted to send a signal also that he is becoming his own man and ultimately wants to work for what he calls resolution to this matter.
Now, we do want to mention Michael Cohen has not been charged with anything, but he has changed his lawyer, which is very significant.
For 2 reasons. Number one, who that lawyer is, Guy Petrillo, a veteran of the Southern District of New York. He was the head of the criminal division there, so he knows these prosecutors well. Secondly, and this is very, very significant, when Guy Petrillo formally comes on board, that will mark the end of the joint defense agreement that Michael Cohen's lawyers have had with President Trump and his attorneys and their allies' attorneys to share information, to share strategies. Once he comes on board, that agreement is going to be over. That means the sides could be in a much more adversarial position.
George Stephanopoulos with that exclusive interview tonight. George, thank you. Next tonight, news about that deadly boat explosion in the Bahamas. American tourists on board. Investigators looking into what caused the blast that killed a mother and injured at least 9 other people. One of the victims, a dancer, losing her legs while on a family vacation. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, officials in the Bahamas investigating what caused the engine of a tour boat to explode, leaving behind this torched heap of metal. This as we learn more about the American mother killed on board. 39-year-old Malika Jackson and her husband celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary when that boat suddenly ignited.
My heart broke. My prayer was that, Lord, I just pray she didn't suffer.
10 Americans and 2 Bahamian crew members were on board. At least 9 seriously injured, some airlifted to Florida for treatment. Stephanie Schaefer, a 22-year-old dancer from Vermont, losing both legs, now in a medically induced coma. Her mother with several broken bones.
Doctor! Doctor!
Cell phone video from a nearby boat capturing the panic as passengers desperately tried to escape the inferno. These men jumping into the water, climbing aboard that burning vessel in a frantic rush to help.
Tom, the company that operates that boat tells ABC News it won't comment as the investigation is ongoing. Tom?
Ariel Reshef for us. Ariel, thank you. We're also tracking tonight the extreme heat wave gripping most of the country. Heat alerts for 60 million Americans. Temperatures feeling like they're in the triple digits from North Carolina all the way to Maine. At least 1 death blamed on the dangerous heat. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, that dangerous heat wave with no relief in sight. In Washington, D.C. today, it felt like 108 degrees. Baltimore, 111. At least 1 death already blamed on the heat. Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City preparing for more heat-related illness. So what should people watch out for?
So, you should watch out for symptoms of excessive sweating, lightheadedness, dizziness.
Firefighters in Pennsylvania warning parents to avoid hot playgrounds.
We're at about 140 degrees on the asphalt.
That extreme heat bucking highways from Minnesota to Ohio. To open this bridge in Chicago, they had to cool it down after steel beams expanded in the heat. And Tom, tonight, as a precaution, Amtrak is slowing down the speed of its trains from North Carolina to Baltimore in case the heat damages those tracks. Tom?
Gio, thank you. Let's get right to ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee. She's along the George Washington Bridge. And Ginger, this heat is not letting up.
Tom, the sweltering heat goes all the way to Burlington, Vermont, where they broke a record today at 97. Look at these heat advisories from Caribou, Maine down to Windsor, North Carolina. The numbers don't go anywhere the next couple of days. The heat indice for 104 Washington, D.C., 102 Little Rock, and then by Wednesday, the numbers just soar. 101 Des Moines, the feels like in Memphis, 102. This slides east even more, and that means New York City, for example, would be close to a 7-day stretch of 90+. If we do that, it'll be a 1 in 33-year event. Tom?
All right, we'll track that. Ginger, thank you. Now to the Supreme Court showdown. President Trump promising 1 week from today he will announce his nominee to succeed retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. The president revealing he interviewed 4 potential nominees today and plans to meet with 2 or 3 more before making his decision. ABC's Kira Phillips is at the White House tonight.
President Trump tonight ramping up his search for a Supreme Court nominee.
I interviewed and met with 4 potential justices of our great Supreme Court. They are outstanding people. They are really incredible people.
The president says he'll meet with 2 or 3 other candidates. He's predicting a vicious confirmation battle and abortion now at the center of the fight.
Without this basic right, women can't be free.
During the campaign, the president promised to appoint justices who would overturn Roe versus Wade.
That'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life justices on the court.
He's not saying that now.
Are you going to ask your nominees beforehand how they might vote on Roe versus Wade?
Well, that's a big one, and probably not. They're all saying, don't do that, you don't do that, you shouldn't do that, but I'm putting conservative people on.
Today, the White House refusing to say whether the president wants Roe versus Wade overturned.
Is the president still committed to appointing pro-life judges?
He's not going to talk to judges about specific cases. He's looking for individuals that have the right intellect, the right temperament, and that will uphold the Constitution.
Now, during the campaign, the president said very directly, I am pro-life and I will be appointing pro-life judges. Tonight, he's just not going that far. He wants his nominee confirmed, and he's not going to give his opponents any new ammunition. Tom?
Kira Phillips for us at the White House tonight. Kira, thank you.